Assalamu alaikum. Me speaker series, MNU speaker series, Fahi Mustagbal, MB for na marhaba. Me speaker series ge maqsadaki algonmen me එක බේෆුළුන්ගේ එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් තකාද නොලෙජා ෂෙයා කුරුන් මේ එරන් අලුගොඩු මෙන්නම සද අලුගොඩු මෙන් දරිවරුන්නම බේෆුළුන්ගේ අනේ එක්ස්පර්ටීසා එක්ස්පීරියන්සුන් මේ චීතකෙන් උගෙනගෙන් දානකම විස්නාපදෙන් එබේෆුළුන් මේ විදෙන්නේ බේෆුළුන්ගේ අනේ මසෙක්කතුගේ අහුලාගා එමසෙක කුරවවා ගොතා මිහුරියා කමකුන් මේ ෆිලාවතක ලිබිගෙන් දානකම උම්මීද කො අලුගොඩු මේ ස්පීකර් සීරීස් මේ ෆෙෂි නේ මේ ස්පීකර් සීරීස් එකි කොම්මෙ මහා කො එෆ්ආර් බාවන් ගස්ත කොර සීරීස් එහෙම උම්මීද කුරන් හමති හුරියා බේෆුළුමස් අදී මීග බෑර් වඩන් වනකම දැන් මියදුගේ අනේ ස්පීකර් එකි Mohamed Misthoh tibe fulnaka ole wada nogannawane warak ginaen mi sihi gotum mi duumuga yadatto sihat salamatum behtuma koranje kantata kuruma mi barwalova mi befulen e corporate training adi business consultant consultancy firm and Mindfields Incorporation ge then Misthoh ki වර බොඩ ස්ට්‍රැටජික් කොන් කන්ත කරවා පොසිටිව් තින්කින්ග වර බොඩ බාරවල්වා බෙෆලෙන් දෙන් අලුගොන් මේ උමේද කර මිස්තෝගේ මේ ලෙක්චරෙන් අලුගොන් මෙන වරගින පිලාවතක දස්වෙගෙන් දානකම මොමදස්.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity, first of all. It's a pleasure to be spreading knowledge. And this is my profession as well, trying to help someone at least pick up something from what we talk about here in terms of exchanging knowledge. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a very obsessive person in a good way. In a good way because there are two obsessions of mine that I would like to tell you today. One of it is reading. I read a lot. It would be fair to say that at least a book a month would be a good bet. Like I am very much into it. And when it comes to reading, I don't care where I am. I just try to gather some knowledge in that limited time that I get. A lot of times my wife sort of mistake my phone habits into thinking that I'm in the social media. But the truth really is I try to still learn something. The most time of my day when it comes to reading, I spend at around 4 in the morning. From 4 till about 4:45 in the morning on average, most mornings, that would be me sitting relaxed and just reading. And my likes into the reading world goes into various topics. And these days, I'm very much fascinated about brain science, and that's something I've been reading a lot about. And it helps us as well in building habits and a lot of other work. So reading is one of those things I thought I would highlight to you. And it helps my profession, which is Mindfields, where I am a corporate trainer as well as a business consultant too. And we've been doing that for over a decade now. The next obsession of mine is about running. And most people that I meet up, they sort of regard me as a runner more than a knowledgeable business consultant or corporate trainer. So in the world of running, I do many things in order to gather the knowledge that I need, be it diet related or be it training related or be it even recovery related. So without the knowledge, I wouldn't be able to go on reaching my running targets. So as of now, I've done 34 marathons, and that's a big deal because it kind of puts you into this trajectory where you're going to lose so much in terms of your body weight and even gain a lot in terms of how you would want to be when it comes to a race. So yeah, running is something that I'm very passionate about. But today's topic is about dreaming. So let's talk a little bit about dreaming. Before we go into that, have a look at the person next to you. Just look at them. Look at them and try to figure out the differences in you and the person next to you. Differences. Keep that difference in mind as you look at that person next to you. Now, this is a very, very important thing. We, as human beings, we are designed, destined to be different creatures. 7 billion of us lives in this world, and look at them. They are different to one another. But there is a very sad reality. Although we are designed and born to be different, we sort of lose our track as we are growing up and follow the average, isn't it? When it comes to dreaming, the society dictates your dreams. Is that true? When it comes to dreaming, your family chooses your dreams for you. That is true as well. When it comes to dreaming, your friends influence you to choose dreams that are preferable to them. And the worst part of all this is, most of this happens without you even realizing it. It's about your subconscious habits too. When you don't know what you are getting into, you end up doing what the majority does. We are masters of copycat. That's what we do best. Trust me, we are masters of being copycats. So when it comes to dreaming, you end up living someone else's dream. Not your dream, not the unique dream that you could have come up with. And that is a sad reality. There is a sad reality from which you need to wake up. You need to start chasing your own dreams now. So today, within the next 30 minutes or so, because my sister, for you I think Leela, Tuttung have told me that I got to finish up in 30 minutes and allow you some question time. So I'll try to honor that, okay? What I'm going to talk to you about is what had worked for me. I'm not an expert in dreaming. Trust me, I'm not. And no one is. Nobody is an expert in dreaming. But we all try to follow what could work best for us. And in doing that, some people try to learn a little bit more and apply certain things in life. So what I'm about to show you is the stuff that had worked for me. I will try to point out 5 things that have worked best for me, and I try to replicate it every now and then, and it still does prove certain wonders for me. Okay, so that is what I'm going to show you today and talk to you about. The first thing that I would like you to keep in mind when it comes to dreaming is, sky is not the limit. I think you have heard a lot about sky being the limit. Why limit? Why even bring up the word limit when it's about dreaming? So the sky is limitless. You can go achieve many things in life. And the beauty of these things is you choose the reality as well. In your dreams, you choose the reality. If it's about reaching out to the stars, go reach out to the stars. If it's about reaching out to the moon, go reach out to the moon. It's about your dreams. So sky is limitless. And I'm going to tell you 3 stories about my life where I have at least learned something that may be valuable for you under this heading. Sky is limitless. Okay? This is the story about Perth. When I was 5 or 6 years of age, without even realizing it, I started a journey of reaching out to my stars. I didn't realize at the time. Over the years, I tend to believe in something called the law of coincidences. What I mean by law of coincidences is there is nothing that happens to you because of a coincidence. There's always a purpose for everything that happens to you in life if you have a plan in mind, a goal in mind. So there's no such thing as chance. There's no such thing as coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. And everything that happens to you in life are pieces of a plan, pieces of a puzzle. My cousin, who was half Australian, started visiting me every summer when I was 5 or 6 years of age. 5 or 6 years of age. He's from Australia, visits, plays with me, leaves the country. Piece of a puzzle. My mom went to Australia twice when I was 9 or 10 years of age. Piece of a puzzle. I started playing cricket when I was in school, 14, 15 years of age. Cricket. Me. Piece of a puzzle. My sister, she went to Australia for her studies. I think 4 years. I was 17, 18, and 19 years of age. Piece of a puzzle. When you combine all these pieces, I found myself landing in Perth, Australia on February 5th, 1997. I didn't know when I was 5 or 6 years of age, this was my journey. But something was happening here. Pieces of puzzles was showing to me. They are finding me. The pieces have been finding me. Because without realizing it, I had a dream. Without realizing it, the dream was Australia. I did my degree in Perth, 3 years of my life. I did my MBA in Australia, Perth, 1 year of my life. A teaching diploma, another year of my life. Australia, still. Today, I could proudly say I have spent almost 10 years of my life studying and working in Australia. Why did it happen? Coincidence? Not really. It's not a coincidence. It's because I had a dream without realizing it at that time. I was a little kid. So with that knowledge, I wanted to learn more and apply them. So that's the first story. This story sort of tells you there's no such thing as a coincidence if you have a plan, if you have a goal in mind. That's the first thing. Second thing is 1st of June 2005, something again happened to me, in my life. This time, the story goes into Dubai. Soon after tsunami, I started realizing I need a new challenge in my life. But I had to work hard towards this challenge. Now with the knowledge I had from the journey of Australia and the MBA that I acquired, I thought I could do something about this challenge. And the challenge was to work somewhere else. Dubai was very attractive. And if you had a financial mindset in you, you would realize in 2005, Dubai was a growing hub to investments, which also meant that a lot of job opportunities would be coming to people like us. So very, very religiously, I started applying for jobs. I made a little plan. The plan was to ensure that I apply to 5 jobs every day, 5. Early in the morning when I wake up, I make sure I do at least 2 before I go running. At night before I sleep, I make sure that I've applied to that 3 or 2 more in order to get my target, which is 5. 5 or 6 months later, 5 or 6 months later, imagine how many applications I would have done if I religiously followed this pathway. And guys, I did. Religiously followed it. On May 29th, 2005, I received my first positive response. After around 500 or more applications, here I am receiving the first positive response on May 29th, early in the morning. This response was somewhat tricky. It says, congratulations on winning a job. The tricky part was, if you want this job, pay for your airfares and be in Dubai by 1st of June. 29th May, early in the morning, this email. And you know what? That was my birthday as well. 29th of May, on my birthday, here is a message that was telling me happy birthday. Of course, I had a job. Of course, I was working. But this dream was stronger. Nothing was going to stop me. So guess what I did? I could brag about it now. I applied for a leave, a sick leave, and I left for good. I packed my bags and left for good. On June the 1st, my aeroplane did land in Dubai on a ticket that I bought. And there was luckily, someone there with a board saying Mohamed Misthoh. That was a big relief for me. Because all this time I've tried to earn that moment in my life. When you reach to a dream, the real fun begins. It's not about going there that really matters. It's about living that dream that really matters. I was getting a good salary. $3,500 was good money for a Maldivian working in 2005. $3,500. They promised $65,000 a year for me as a salary. The title was marketing executive, but I wasn't doing marketing executive related work. I started realizing many things wrong about Dubai at the time, especially because I had this skin color. Arabs wasn't too good for me back then. They started using my name and talking in Arabic in lunch hours, everyone together, laughing, talking about Mohamed Misthoh in Arabic. And this sort of really demotivated me. And it wasn't their mumbo jumbos that really mattered to me. It was more to do with the weather. In June, 50 degrees Celsius. Can you imagine that? Artificial roads. I started comparing Dubai to Australia. The natural feel wasn't there. I couldn't run. I smoked a lot back then, and I couldn't even smoke. So this was a problem for me. I didn't last long. 3 months later, I was back home. 3 months later. But with a big plan. The plan was to go to Australia, and you already know, 4 years I worked there after this moment in time. So that wasn't a failure at all. So sometimes in life, when you start chasing your dreams, you may end up in a different place than what you thought it was. But that's not the end of the story. You learn from it, you lift, pack your bags, and move on to a new place. That's the whole spirit in this second one. So that's the second story. The third story that I would like to highlight to you is regarding my running. Something happened to me. Applying the things I've learned from the Australia example, from the Dubai example, something profound happened when I was chasing my running dreams. In 2014, I ran my first marathon for 2 reasons. One was my sister here. She wanted to celebrate her birthday, 50th was it? 45th, sorry. 45th birthday. So I made a plan to myself to help her run that marathon on her 45th birthday. That was first one. The second reason was I wanted to learn more about running and apply it to my company, which was Total Fitness Group. We wanted to introduce marathon running to the Maldivians at large. So this wasn't about me. I didn't do too well in that first marathon. It was a huge learning curve. Nearly 7 hours of running brought me to the finish line, and I fainted. My brothers and everyone was there to witness that moment in time. Came back home, started thinking more about marathon running. Within 28 days from my first marathon to the next marathon, I decided on a plan. The plan was to run 2 major marathons. One was the very route that kick-started marathon running, which was in Athens Marathon. So 28 days later, I did that marathon. That gave me a tick. But the most important plan that I had was to run Boston Marathon. Boston Marathon is more like the Makkah of running. It's a very tough procedure. It's a tough process. Not many people get the chance to run it. You will be qualifying to run that marathon. So that's the whole challenge. Within this journey, 32 marathons later, 7 years later, after many tries, I had to get a marathon in under 3 hours, 20 minutes. I failed for almost 7 years trying to achieve that moment. But in 2021, I tried something different. This is the learning moment for me. What I did was I had the opportunity to go to Boston, not to run, but to see the place. So I thought, okay, no running for me. I'll go there and see it. At least I could get that feeling of running a marathon. So I went to Boston in 2021. And I realized, my goodness, this is something I need to run. And I wasn't seeing Bostoners running the marathon. I was only seeing them live their ordinary lives. The very first place I wanted to see was the finish line. I went with my wife to see the finish line on the next day I arrived in Boston. Tears, really, I was almost about to cry because it meant a lot to me. And at that moment in time, I did believe that I may have a chance to run that marathon. This is 2021. This is June 2021. And guess what happened? 2021 in October, 2 months later after my Boston trip, miraculously, I achieved my target of under 3 hours and 20 minutes. Why? I didn't do anything different. Only thing different was me going there and seeing my dream alive. Other than that, no, I didn't do anything different. So there you go, a learning curve, a moment for me. If you want to chase your dreams, try and vividly visualize that as much as you can. If you could go and touch it before you could grab it. Touch it, feel it. I think that was a wake-up call for me. So these 3 things helped me. These 3 experiences helped me because it was proof enough for me to believe that certain things are working. So that's the first thing. Sky is limitless. Quickly, I'll tell you the four other pointers. Never be afraid or embarrassed about your dreams. I have encountered this moment countless times. When I do sessions which talks about dreaming, I ask the audience, can you share your dreams with us? They would be reluctant. They would say it's personal. Dreams personal? Do you want to make it true or keep it personal? This is about making this come true, right? You're chasing the dream. The more you talk about it, the chances of making it real or becoming real is higher. Did you know that? And there's science to back that argument as well. There is something inside your brain or in your brain that is called a reticular activating system, RAS. The job of reticular activating system is to scan the environment for all the information that you could grasp. But the job of this RAS is to eliminate all the nonsense and narrow your focus to the things that really matters to you. If I am chasing Australia, Sweden will not matter to me. My brain will only show me things about kangaroos, things about koalas, things about land down under. That's its job. If my mission is to go to Boston, it's not going to show me all the other marathons around the world. It's going to alert you whenever there is a sign or smell of Boston. That's the job of reticular activating system. But it only works perfectly if you talk more about your dream. The more you talk, the more you are guiding your RAS to look for the right signals in the environment. That is its job. That is why the more you talk, the more you are going to become aware of people who has already done that, aware of things that you need to be aware. The more you talk, the best it is. I always follow a little advice from my dad. This is what he says. And this is so true. This is so true. It's not about actually the word phony. This is different. It's about you talking about it. The more you talk about it, you are going to get that pleasure of talking about it as well. Plus, the moment you achieve it, there's that joy as well. So talk more, because that can help us achieve your dreams as well. Talk more about your dreams. Third thing that I would like to highlight again very quickly, dreaming is about 10% of the work. Majority of it, which is 90%, is about you putting in the effort. For me to do the Boston Marathon took a very long time. 7 years, so many struggles of running long distance and failing and failing and failing. It's just that you don't regard it as a failure. More than 500 emails and one response, you do the math for the success rate. So, process is everything. Process can only take you towards your dreams. Dreaming is just 10% of the work. But you still got to do that too, because otherwise you wouldn't know where you're chasing your life. Here's a little exercise. I'm going to ask you very quickly what comes to your mind when I show you a word here, all right? So bear with me. So I'll show you a word. All you have to do is just think about the first thing that comes to your mind. First thing only, all right? First thing only. Be very honest. Keep that first thing in your mind and share it with me when I ask you to. First thing, all right? Just one word only. Ready? 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 What? Oh yeah, ready. Okay, sorry. Okay, the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this word. First thing only. First thing that comes to your mind when you see the word Male. Can you please share it with me? Crowded. Crowded, yeah. Lively. Overpopulated. Pardon? Congested. Home. Islam workers. Shout, please. What comes to your mind? Paved? Coffee with friends? Congested? Right. Now, this little exercise is a proven exercise that somehow shows how positive or how negative oriented we are. Why would some people call this particular place home as the first word that comes to your mind when others see crowdedness, others see concrete jungles? Now, I've done this exercise many, many times with my audiences. And guess what? There's a trend. Locals, most locals that I've met are very negative oriented. Most expats that I have met, somehow they get to say, this is an amazing place. But why? It's the same place. So yeah, the point I would like to highlight to you is most of us are very negative oriented. Most of us. I'm sorry to say this. And it happens for a reason. It happens for a reason. The reason being when you get out from this hall, when you go onto the streets of Male, there will be many, many moments that will prime your brain into believing that this is crap. If you want to be tough, you got to consciously, only 5% of amount of time can we really use that. So you need to increase that percentage. So consciously, you got to feed your brain into believing that this is beautiful. So this is the point that I would like to make. We got to remain positive as you chase your dreams. There's going to be setbacks. When I was chasing Australia as a dream without even realizing it, there were people who would bully me by calling Australia. Bully me. When I was playing cricket, they bully you as well because Australia was the reason why I wanted to play cricket. There are friends who bullied you, who teased you. Let's use that word. Teased is a better word. So who teased you, joked at you. But at the end of the day, those are all nonsense that you should, weigh out. So yeah, remain positive. There will be setbacks, and that's all about life, really. It's that journey. Last but not least, the very last thing. This is something that I try a lot, mental imagery, which means visualizing what it's like when you accomplish these goals. When I was thinking about Dubai as my adventure, I did think so much of my time how it would be like living in Dubai. I wasn't just applying my emails or job applications. I had that process under me as well, imagining how it would be like when you accomplish this dream. So you got to use all your senses to do it. If you can smell your dream, smell it. If you can touch your dream, touch it. If you can hear your dream, just listen to it. There are so many things you can do to make your brain feel like you're getting closer to your dream. Use that. So those are the 5 things that I wanted to highlight to you today regarding what had worked for me. Like I said, I am no expert, but these things have done some good to me, and I firmly believe in this process. I firmly believe that these could work wonders. It had worked for me. So yes, that's basically what I have today in this short amount of time. And finally, very last thing is, in a right way, get very obsessed about your dreams. Get very obsessed. So, thank you very much. Questions, if you have any. You can't ask a question. No, you can.
What is your next dream?
My next what? A dream. Good one. It's happening already. You know it. If I talk more, I'll cry, so I won't talk about it. It's destined to happen next year. It was meant to happen this year, but couldn't. It's about our house. It's getting built, and that has been a long waiting dream of ours, the entire families. But inshallah, it's happening next year.
Thank you. Loved your presentation. I was wondering, I'm also a firm believer that we should talk about our dream, visualize our dream, and voice it out more. But I think we have this myth or kind of a mindset in the society which says like talk less and do more, or make the action and then show it to other people. Maybe due to the myth of evil eyes, I assume. So, what would be your advice?
Yeah, thank you. By the way, I loved your presentation
Thank
yesterday.
you.
Yeah, you did. Well, hell of a good job. Yeah, I am still a firm believer in talking about the dream, okay? But you got to know which audience you want to talk it to. So that is where I think it really, you set your boundary there, knowing the audience. So I'm not going to talk about in any audience, but I know I could feel the right audience for me to talk about it. So that's a message for all of you as well. I mean, don't talk about your dream to anybody that you meet, but know who might add value. And if you know someone could add value, then obviously make it a point to talk about it. So that's the whole basis, I think. Yeah. No hard and fast rule, but I would do that, definitely. Thank you. Any other questions? Hi.
Hi. Yes.
Yeah, you too.
Going back to yesterday,
Yeah.
so those young people who are here are looking for inspiration so that they can actually have that plan. Now you talked about one plan, and once you arrived there, it didn't work. 3 months later, you jumped on to another plan.
Mm-hmm.
So things will not necessarily go from A to Z. And when you started saying about coincidences also have a magical way of making miracles happen.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah?
Is that a question or?
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
alright,
it's a comment that I
Okay,
make
okay, yeah,
because I
yeah,
kind
cool.
of felt that anyway. So the point I would like for you to reiterate would be when plans don't necessarily get where you want it to go, how do you get up, brush off, go on to the next? Thank you.
All right, okay, yeah, thank you for that question. When you are obsessed about a plan, obsessed about a dream, obviously you'd do anything to ensure that you reach that target, right? But when you feel like it's not happening, when you feel demotivated that certain things are not going according to your plan, obviously the feeling of happiness probably would be something that could only make you chase your dreams. It's not like happiness, the way I look at it. If you start from point A, if you want to reach point B, happiness isn't there at point B. It's a journey. Throughout the journey, you ought to be happy. Halfway through, if you realize that you are unhappy, things are not happening your way, you got to refocus, put your energy back to somewhere else. Because you don't want, marriage, I think, comes to my mind when it is this sort of a journey. So change, go chase someone else, That's the sort of thing. That's what I would do, and I have experienced that as well. So, yeah. I would use happiness as an indicator of when to stop and when to chase your dreams. Because you shouldn't believe that happiness lies in point B. It's all in the journey as well. But all you are doing is changing the entire lifestyle at point B. And yeah, does that answer your question? I hope so.
I'd like to edit your slide on what your father said.
Yeah.
He said, "Phoni kendima deufalibe e phoni kendumuga ufala echa winvima elibe ufala." Also, he has added onto that, "Nulibijjiyamu wes Eng
You still-
ufali
yeah,
bene. E
absolutely.
phone kendo muge ufali bene. So
That's true.
yes. So that's what it is, I think.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
journey.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Any other questions? Anyone wants to run a marathon?
What really I'm going to take away from this is that consistency you had. Like 500 applications and just one positive response. But you still held on and you did not think twice before taking that plane ticket and going to Dubai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although, yes, 3 months later, that's fine. But I wanted to see if that had anything to do with that discipline. Is it anything to do with running? So you were talking about running. Right, so does it relate that discipline? I'm very focused as well. I'm a big dreamer as well, but I don't run. so I wouldn't have continued with the application.
Yeah.
Not when I wasn't getting any positive response.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Again, what had worked for me? This is all. I mean, even at the very beginning, I said I'm no expert, but what had worked for me? Consistency is, I think, yeah, it's a part of me because I always try to get obsessed with my ideas. The more obsessed you are, the more you discover you don't have to think much to do that. When I wake up in the morning, the smell of that coffee activates my behaviors. So the behavior is open my computer and look for those jobs, redo my cover letter, and attach that resume of mine, and then hit send. So I think that becomes automatic. And it only becomes automatic when you really, really, really make it an obsessive part of you, and in a good way again. So early in the morning, I wouldn't be taking anybody else's time. I could focus on that little email of mine. So when you get obsessed by something, thinking gets eliminated. If you get chance to think, you may then decide, I may do this, I may do that. So I think the whole idea of creating even a habit is eliminating the thinking part. And if you could eliminate that, it becomes an automatic part or automatic thing. Does that work? Yeah. Yeah, so I would even give you an example in the world of running as well. I still, to this day, when I sleep, I have all my running gear set in the sitting room. Because what I do believe is when I wake up, I may have that little thing inside me telling me, if I switch on the light, my son will wake up, therefore stay in bed. That's a reason to sleep. So when I know that my attire is outside, I have to quietly just get out of the room, and there you go, I'm on my way for my run. So eliminating thinking can be a good idea, and you can only do that if you become obsessive and create a good habit. Yes, I learned a lot from you.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Only one session, and she taught me a lot.
Well, my question is, you're talking about dreaming big, but we did start off with the idea of...
I didn't get that, sorry.
Sorry about that. So you were talking about dreaming big, but we did start off with the whole explanation of how we are swayed by the society, what we live through, these kind of things. So for people who's come this far, there's not really a lot of children here. So people who have come this far and who are easily swayed even now, because that's the habits they've created up till now.
True.
I would say finding your own unique dream would be the first big step they can take, right?
Sure,
So that
true.
they have now a goal set. How do they go about really connecting with their own unique goal? Like, what would be a very tangible first step someone could take to try dreaming first after years of not being able to dream?
Yeah, that is a tough one. Too tough. So yeah, I kickstarted the whole session by highlighting the importance of being unique, right? If you believe in your uniqueness, you would start believing in chasing your own reality, not someone else's reality. So when you chase that reality, I think rule number one is don't be embarrassed, right? I mean, your dream doesn't necessarily have to be in acceptance with someone else's dream. So your own reality is where I would begin. So if you ever, even in your childhood, if you ever had something that you wanted to do, probably now may be the time to really do it. Yeah, without getting embarrassed. And there are so many places or people who could become role models of inspiration for us. Like, for example, KFC is a good point, I think, to kickstart, because that guy, Colonel, he only discovered that when he was 65 years of age. 65, and he became an instant billionaire there by chasing his model, by chasing his recipe. I mean, making that recipe become the standard for getting fat. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, you still have time. Now, I mean, it's not late. It's never too late. And my brother here, he inspired me in a different way as well. He was renowned as a football player, then became a coach. Then he studied, did a master's as well. And that inspired me. And well done, bro. And I mean, those are the things. People do stuff. You could look around you. There are so many places you could look. And that's where, again, reticular activating system could play a big part as well. The more you talk about things regarding your dreams, the more people would shine. The pieces of puzzles will find you. So I think, yeah, it's never too late, surely. Yep. And yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. And I hope that you'll do something good with this